Baby girl found a German shepherd starving behind the grocery store. What she did next melted every heart. Sometimes, the smallest voices speak the loudest truths. What this little girl did for a stranger, not even human, shocked an entire city and reminded us that heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes, they wear muddy shoes and carry broken souls in their tiny arms. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the bustling parking lot of the neighborhood grocery store. People hurried past, focused on their errands and purchases, their faces masked by the rhythm of daily life. Bright signs advertised fresh produce and special offers, cheerful music played faintly from the speakers, and the scent of freshly baked bread wafted from the open doors. But just behind the glossy exterior, beyond the delivery bays and recycling bins, there was a quiet corner that most people ignored, a hidden place where silence and shadows gathered. It was in this overlooked space that 5-year-old Lily found herself wandering. Clad in a light yellow dress with little pink flowers, her hair tied back in a loose ponytail, Lily had always been a child of gentle curiosity. Her eyes sparkled with a kind innocence that made even strangers smile when they met her gaze. Today, she had come with her mother to pick up groceries, but like most children, Lily's mind often drifted away from the mundane tasks of adults and into the realm of discovery. As she meandered around the building's perimeter, her soft footsteps barely making a sound on the cracked pavement, Lily suddenly paused. From the distance, a faint, almost desperate sound reached her ears, a low, sorrowful whimper. It was so faint that an adult might have dismissed it as the wind or a passing animal, but for Lily, whose heart beat with tenderness for all living things, it was a call she couldn't ignore. Her small hands clenched the strap of her little backpack, and with a mix of hesitation and resolve, she followed the sound. The path took her past towering dumpsters and stacks of wooden pallets, where discarded boxes and forgotten objects littered the ground. The sunlight struggled to reach here, filtering dimly through overgrown weeds and tangled bushes. The air smelled faintly of damp earth and something else, something raw and aching. There, nestled in the shadows, Lily's eyes widened at the sight before her. A German shepherd lay curled up behind a rusted old shed, the ribs beneath its thin fur protruding sharply like a skeletal outline. The dog's coat was dull and matted, coated with dust and grime, and its eyes, large, dark, and filled with pain, looked at Lily with a cautious blend of fear and hope. Despite its weakened state, the dog held itself upright, its body trembling not just from hunger but from a protective vigilance. It was guarding something, something hidden deep in the bushes that Lily couldn't yet see. Lily's breath caught in her throat. She knew this dog was suffering, and yet, there was something about the way it watched her that spoke of courage and loyalty beyond words. She could feel the weight of its silent plea, a request not just for food or shelter, but for understanding and kindness. Around her, the world seemed to grow still. The noise of the parking lot faded, the busy shoppers and honking cars disappeared into the background, and all that remained was this fragile moment of connection. Lily knelt slowly, every movement deliberate and gentle, as if she feared startling the dog away. Her tiny hand reached out, trembling slightly, and brushed a strand of dirt from the dog's fur. At that touch, the dog's eyes softened just a little, the tension in its posture easing as if recognizing an ally in the young girl. It whimpered once more, a sound that tugged fiercely at Lily's heart. In that instant, a profound realization washed over her. This was no ordinary stray. This dog had a story, a past filled with hardship, and a future that depended entirely on the kindness of strangers. A flicker of doubt crossed Lily's mind. She knew she shouldn't be there alone. Her mother had told her not to wander off, not to talk to strange animals, and certainly not to get too close to places like this. But all those warnings seemed distant, overshadowed by the urgency she felt inside. She could see the desperation in the dog's eyes, and she knew that whatever it was guarding needed her help, too. As the sun dipped lower, casting golden hues across the sky, Lily's innocent bravery shone through. She whispered softly, "It's okay, I'm here now." Her voice was barely audible, but it carried a warmth that seemed to reach through the chill of the neglected corner. This moment, this quiet act of courage, was the beginning of a journey that would change everything. For Lily, for the German Shepherd, and for all who would hear their story. Because sometimes, the smallest hands can make the biggest difference, and a single touch of compassion can melt even the hardest hearts. And there, in the shadows behind the grocery store, Lily's eyes finally caught the secret the dog had been protecting. A small bundle, hidden and trembling, waiting to be saved. What she discovered next shocked everyone, and would remind us all of the power of kindness in a world that often forgets to care. Lily knelt cautiously beside the German Shepherd, her small frame trembling, not from the chill in the air, but from the rawness of the sight before her. The dog's ribs jutted sharply beneath its patchy, dusty fur, like the bones of a forgotten skeleton. Its body lay thin and weak, muscles barely holding on, and the once proud stance of a loyal guardian had been replaced by a fragile vulnerability. The shepherd's tired eyes, glossy and wary, flickered with a mixture of fear and exhaustion as they met Lily's gaze. Despite the obvious pain and hunger etched into every line of its face, the dog refused to close its eyes fully, as if any moment it could be called away to protect whatever it was guarding. Its shallow breaths came in ragged bursts, each one a quiet plea for relief. The patch of ground beneath it was bare dirt mixed with stray leaves, providing little comfort or shelter from the rough world that had pushed it here, behind the busy grocery store. The stray bits of trash scattered nearby suggested it had been scavenging for scraps, surviving on whatever scraps fortune had thrown its way. Lily's heart clenched painfully as she took in the dog's condition. Her hands instinctively reached out, trembling, to brush away a clump of matted fur from its side. The German Shepherd flinched, retreating slightly, its body tight with mistrust born of too many harsh encounters. Yet, there was something in Lily's gentle voice, a softness that whispered safety, that held the dog in place. "Oh, you poor thing," Lily whispered, tears welling in her eyes. "You're so hungry, so scared." She glanced down at the small snack she had in her pocket, a piece of bread her mother had given her earlier. It wasn't much, but it was all she had. Carefully, she tore the bread into small bits and extended her hand slowly toward the dog. The shepherd's nose twitched as it caught the scent. Hunger overcame hesitation for a brief moment, and it edged forward, snatching a crumb from Lily's palm before retreating once again. Lily smiled through her tears. "See? It's okay. You can trust me." She repeated the words softly, as much for her own courage as for the dog's. But trust was a fragile thing here. The dog's eyes darted anxiously to the shadows beyond, ears flicking back nervously at every distant sound. The rumble of a passing truck, the bark of a neighborhood dog, the distant chatter of shoppers. Years of hardship had taught this shepherd that the world was often a cruel place, and safety was never guaranteed. Lily understood that, even as she felt the burning determination growing inside her. She couldn't leave this dog alone to face the harshness any longer. Her young mind raced. What could she do? She had no phone, no food beyond that tiny piece of bread, no way to call for help immediately. The grocery store was busy and noisy, and no one seemed to notice the suffering lurking just out of sight. Her hands pressed gently against the dog's rough fur, trying to convey the warmth it desperately needed. "I'm going to help you," she promised, her voice barely above a whisper but filled with unwavering resolve. The dog seemed to sense her sincerity, lowering its head slightly, a flicker of acceptance passing through its eyes. The stakes were painfully clear. This German shepherd was starving, vulnerable, and alone. Without immediate care, its strength would continue to fade, and the dangers lurking in the alleyways, traffic, harsh weather, or worse, could end its suffering too soon. But Lily's courage sparked a glimmer of hope. If she could only hold on, find help, and bring food and safety, maybe this dog could be saved. As she sat there, carefully sharing her meager snack, the weight of the moment settled deeply in her chest. This wasn't just a lost animal. It was a silent cry for kindness, a reminder that sometimes the smallest, quietest corners hide stories of survival and heartache. And now, Lily was part of that story, a beacon of compassion standing bravely between the dog's despair and the promise of a new beginning. Lily knew she couldn't face this alone. As much as she wanted to stay by the German Shepherd's side, she needed help, someone who could care for the dog properly, someone who knew what to do. So, with a determined breath, she stood up, wiping the tears from her cheeks, and glanced back at the dog lying weakly behind the grocery store. The dog's eyes followed her movement, filled with a wary hope. Her tiny legs carried her toward the store entrance, where people bustled about, oblivious to the suffering hidden in the shadows. The bright colors of packaged goods and the cheerful chatter inside contrasted starkly with the quiet desperation waiting outside. Lily spotted her mother near the checkout line, a familiar figure of safety, and called out softly, "Mom, there's a dog behind the store. It's really hungry and hurt." Her mother's face shifted immediately from routine to concern. She quickly followed Lily back through the automatic doors, her voice calm but firm. "Let's see what we can do, sweetheart." The two approached the place where Lily had left the German Shepherd, but the dog was gone. Lily's heart sank. Had it moved further away? A sudden rustling in the bushes revealed the dog, weak and trembling but still there. Her mother knelt beside the dog, speaking softly, "Hey, buddy, it's okay. We're here to help." The dog flinched but didn't run. Encouraged, Lily moved closer and stroked the dog's head gently. "It trusts us a little," she whispered. Realizing the dog was far too weak to get up on its own, Lily's mother pulled out her phone and called a local animal rescue. "We need help immediately," she said. "There's a German Shepherd, starving and scared, behind the grocery store." As they waited for the rescue team to arrive, they did what they could, offering small bits of water and soft words of comfort. When the rescue workers arrived, the air filled with a sense of urgency and hope. They brought with them gentle voices, sturdy leashes, and a blanket to provide warmth. One of the volunteers, a kind woman named Sarah, knelt down and spoke in soothing tones to the dog. "It's okay, you're safe now." Slowly, carefully, she wrapped the blanket around the dog's trembling body. Despite the warmth and kindness, the shepherd was hesitant, pulling back slightly, eyes wary and untrusting. It was clear the dog had been through too much to easily accept help. Sarah exchanged a glance with Lily's mother. "We'll need patience," she said softly. "But this dog's going to be okay." Gently, Sarah fastened the leash around the dog's neck, a delicate operation given the animal's frailty. Lily stayed close, whispering encouragements, her hand resting lightly on the dog's side. "You're brave," she said, her voice steady despite the swirling emotions inside her. With great care, they began moving the dog from its hiding place. The ground was uneven, littered with small stones and debris, and the dog's weak legs made every step a struggle. Lily helped by offering her small hands as support, holding the dog's collar when needed. The journey to the rescue van was slow but steady. Along the way, there were moments of tension. The dog flinched at sudden noises, a car horn, a barking dog nearby, and at one point, it tried to pull away, frightened by the unfamiliar world beyond its shelter. Lily's heart raced with fear that they might lose the dog's trust. She knelt quickly, meeting its eyes. "We're not going anywhere, I promise." Slowly, the dog calmed, as if understanding that for once, it was safe. Finally, the rescue van came into view. The team helped lift the dog carefully into the vehicle, wrapping it in blankets to keep it warm. Lily stood back, watching, a mix of relief and sadness washing over her. She had done something incredible today. She had found a lost soul in desperate need and, with help, was giving it a chance. Days that followed were a whirlwind of phone calls, visits, and updates from the rescue center. Lily's mother kept her informed, sharing stories of the dog's slow but steady improvement. Lily clung to every word, imagining the dog's first moments of joy after feeling full and safe. The bond she had formed with the German Shepherd was unbreakable, born out of compassion, bravery, and a shared journey through hardship. The dog, whom Lily named Max, responded to her visits with soft whines and tentative tail wags, his eyes gradually losing the haunted look they once held. Each small step toward recovery was a victory, and Lily celebrated them all, each wag, each playful bark, each moment of trust. The rescue effort wasn't just a physical one, it was emotional too. Lily learned patience, the power of kindness, and the strength that comes from standing up for those who cannot stand for themselves. Max's journey from starvation to safety was a testament to the resilience of the spirit and the healing power of love. Their story was far from over, but the seeds of hope had been planted in that quiet corner behind the grocery store. A little girl's courage, a community's response, and the gentle heart of a German Shepherd would change lives forever. Max's first hours after rescue were filled with uncertainty. The once lively German Shepherd now lay quietly in a soft blanket inside the rescue center, his body frail and trembling from dehydration and malnutrition. His ribs showed sharply beneath his dull fur, a painful reminder of the long days he had endured without enough food or water. His eyes, though tired, still held a spark of resilience that tugged deeply at Lily's heart. When the vet finally arrived to examine Max, the room fell silent except for the soft beeping of medical equipment. The doctor, a kind woman named Dr. Harper, moved gently as she checked Max's vital signs. "He's severely dehydrated and underweight," she said quietly, her voice filled with concern. "There are also signs of old injuries, likely from neglect or even abuse. But with proper care, he can recover." Lily watched as the vet carefully administered fluids and medicine, feeling both hope and sadness swirling inside her. She wished she could take away all of Max's pain, to erase the hardships he had faced. But for now, all she could do was be there, offering comfort in the quiet moments. Back at home, Lily's family rallied around the effort to help Max heal. Her parents transformed a small corner of their living room into a cozy space with blankets, bowls of fresh water, and gentle toys to encourage him to eat. Every day, Lily sat by Max's side, softly whispering stories and soothing him with her touch. "You're safe now, Max," she'd say, her voice full of warmth. "We'll take care of you." The early days were slow and challenging. Max was weak, often too tired to move much, and sometimes he flinched at sudden noises or quick movements, reminders of a past filled with fear. But Lily never left him alone. She learned to read his subtle signals, a wagging tail, a relaxed sigh, and celebrated every small sign of trust. The family's patience and love began to work miracles. Max's coat slowly regained its shine, and his eyes started to sparkle with curiosity once more. He began to eat better, showing interest in food that he hadn't known for so long. His muscles grew stronger, and with gentle encouragement, he took his first tentative steps around the room. Emotionally, Max's recovery was just as profound. From the shadow of his past, he blossomed into a dog eager to play, explore, and bond. Lily's connection with him deepened with every shared moment. The way he rested his head on her lap, the joyful leaps during playtime, the soft whines when she was near. It was as if Max had found a new family, a new reason to trust and love. Yet, There were moments when the shadows of his past life crept in. Sometimes, during quiet evenings, Max would stare intently out the window, ears pricked, as if listening for something only he could hear. Occasionally, he flinched when approached too quickly or hesitated at loud noises. These small reminders of what he had endured made Lily's resolve stronger. She knew that healing was not just physical, it was a journey of the heart. As the weeks passed, Dr. Harper continued to monitor Max's progress, adjusting treatments and providing vaccinations and care. She also recommended gentle physical therapy to rebuild his strength and agility. Lily's family committed to following the plan, understanding that recovery was a marathon, not a sprint. Lily's days grew filled with new routines, feeding Max carefully measured meals, administering medication, and daily walks that started as slow and short but gradually grew longer and more adventurous. Each walk was an adventure for both of them, filled with discoveries and moments of joy. Max began to greet neighbors with a wagging tail and a friendly sniff, his confidence blossoming with every step. Throughout this time, Lily often wondered about Max's life before he was found behind the grocery store. How had he ended up there, starving and alone? What had he experienced in those dark days? The questions weighed on her, but she found comfort in knowing that, no matter his past, Max was now surrounded by love and care. One afternoon, as Lily brushed Max's fur gently, she noticed faint scars on his legs and a small limp in his gait. The vet had mentioned these might be old wounds from mistreatment, and they reminded Lily of the incredible strength it took for Max to survive. She whispered softly, "You're a fighter, Max. You've come so far." In those quiet moments, it was clear that Max's recovery was more than a physical transformation. It was a story of hope, resilience, and the healing power of compassion. For Lily, this journey was as much about growing empathy and courage as it was about nursing Max back to health. As Max's strength returned, so did his playful spirit. He learned new tricks, enjoyed his favorite toys, and even showed signs of protective instinct toward Lily, following her around the house and alerting her to visitors with a soft bark. The bond between them became unbreakable, a testament to the healing touch of kindness. Together, Lily and Max began to create new memories, ones filled with laughter, trust, and the simple joy of companionship. His past life faded into the background, replaced by a future full of promise and love. After Max had begun to regain his strength and spirit, questions about his past lingered heavily in Lily's mind. How had such a gentle, loyal dog ended up abandoned and starving behind the grocery store? Determined to uncover the truth, Lily and her family began quietly investigating, hoping to piece together the fragments of Max's story. They started by speaking with neighbors and the grocery store employees who worked nearby. Mrs. Thompson, an elderly woman who lived just across the street, recalled seeing Max wandering near the store several weeks before Lily found him. "He looked so thin, barely able to stand," she said with a sad shake of her head. But no one seemed to notice or care. A few other locals shared similar stories, how Max had appeared more and more frail over time, scavenging for scraps, sometimes sleeping under dumpsters or in dark corners, always alone and wary. One of the store workers, a young man named Carlos, admitted he had seen Max but felt powerless to help. "We wanted to do something," Carlos confessed, "but the owner was strict about animals not being on the premises. We were afraid of losing our jobs if we tried to intervene." His voice trembled slightly as he described the helplessness they all felt. Lily's heart ached as these accounts unfolded. The dog she had come to love had endured days, maybe weeks, of neglect and abandonment hidden in plain sight. The realization was a heavy blow to her young spirit but also fueled her determination to make things right. Further inquiry uncovered troubling rumors about Max's previous owner, a man who had recently moved away without making arrangements for the dog. Some whispered that Max had been mistreated, left chained outside with little food or water. Others suspected he was abandoned intentionally, discarded like trash when no longer convenient. Each new piece of information deepened the family's resolve to protect Max and others like him. Lily's parents decided to bring these concerns to the local animal welfare organization, sharing their findings and urging increased community vigilance. The story of Max began to spread, stirring a wave of empathy and action. Neighbors who had once turned a blind eye now spoke openly about the importance of kindness and responsibility toward animals. At school, Lily shared Max's story with her classmates, encouraging them to look out for animals in need and to speak up if they suspected neglect. Her simple message resonated deeply, inspiring a group of children to start a small fundraiser for the local shelter. Max's journey had become a powerful lesson in compassion for the entire community. The grocery store, once just a place of mundane errands, became a symbol of awareness and change. Store owners and workers began discussing ways to better support animals in the neighborhood, from setting up water stations outside to partnering with rescue groups for education programs. For Lily, the emotional impact of learning Max's story was profound. She often reflected on how close he had come to a tragic fate and how their chance meeting had altered both their lives forever. She felt a mix of sorrow for what he had suffered and gratitude for the second chance he was now living. Max, once the forgotten dog behind the store, had become a beacon of resilience. His story was shared in community newsletters and local social media pages, reminding everyone of the quiet struggles many animals face. People began to see him not just as a rescue dog, but as a living testament to the power of kindness and the importance of never giving up on those in need. Lily's bond with Max grew even stronger as she realized they were connected by more than just love. They were linked by a shared story of survival and hope. Together, they had sparked a wave of awareness that reached far beyond their small neighborhood. The family's home, once a quiet refuge, now buzzed with calls and visits from neighbors eager to help or simply to meet the dog who had touched so many hearts. Local vets offered free checkups for stray animals, and volunteers organized regular patrols to look out for pets left behind or abused. Lily understood that Max's story was just the beginning. It was a call to action for everyone to be more attentive, more compassionate, and more willing to stand up for those who couldn't speak for themselves. One evening, as she sat beside Max, stroking his shiny coat, Lily whispered softly, "You're not alone anymore, Max. You're loved and you're safe." Max rested his head on her lap, his eyes reflecting a calm trust that told her they had both found something precious: a new family, a fresh start, and a future filled with hope. And so, Max's tale of hardship transformed into one of healing, inspiring a community to open their hearts and their eyes. His journey was no longer just about survival, but about the remarkable power of second chances, kindness, and the strength that can be found in love. Days turned into weeks, and with every passing moment, Max's transformation was nothing short of miraculous. The once gaunt and weary German Shepherd who had barely lifted his head behind that grocery store was now a picture of vitality and spirit. His ribs, once sharply visible, were now hidden beneath a glossy coat, and the tired, haunted eyes gave way to bright, alert ones filled with curiosity and trust. Lily watched this change with a swelling heart. She remembered how fragile Max had been, barely able to stand, too weak even to wag his tail. Now he was bounding through the backyard, chasing after a ball she had thrown, his playful growls filling the air. The bond between them had deepened with every shared moment, each gentle touch, every patient look, every soft word spoken. For Lily, the experience had been more than just about saving a dog. It had been a journey of her own growth. She found herself more confident, her small shoulders straighter and her voice steadier. The empathy she had felt toward Max had opened her eyes to the broader world, making her more aware of the quiet suffering around her. And with that awareness came a new sense of responsibility, not just for Max but for all creatures who might one day need a helping hand. Every day brought a new routine filled with training sessions, playtime, and quiet moments of reflection. Lily's parents supported her wholeheartedly, creating a safe and loving environment where Max could continue to heal. They worked with a local trainer who helped Max overcome his lingering fears and anxieties, teaching him commands and socializing him gently with other dogs. Yet, it was the little things, the slow, patient scratches behind his ears, the warm evenings spent curled up together on the couch, that truly cemented their connection. Lily's laughter echoed through the house as Max learned new tricks, his tail wagging furiously with pride each time he succeeded. She felt the weight of loneliness lift from both their hearts. Max's recovery was also a symbol of hope for the entire family. His story was a testament to kindness prevailing over hardship, of love's power to heal even the deepest wounds. The dog who had once been so broken was now thriving, a living reminder that second chances are possible, and that sometimes a little compassion can change everything. Reflecting on everything they had been through, Lily often thought about the fragility of life and the importance of never taking safety and love for granted. Max's ordeal had touched everyone in the family deeply, inspiring them to become advocates for animal welfare in their community. They volunteered at local shelters, shared Max's story far and wide, and helped raise awareness about the needs of neglected animals. For Lily, this journey had taught lessons she would carry with her forever: courage in the face of fear, kindness in the face of cruelty, and the unbreakable bond that can form between a child and a dog who have both known hardship. Max was more than just a pet. He was a friend, a companion, a symbol of resilience. As the sun set over their small home, casting golden light through the windows, Lily sat beside Max, who lay contentedly at her feet. She stroked his soft fur, whispering promises of a future filled with happiness and safety. In his eyes, she saw gratitude and a quiet understanding. They had both found a new beginning. The story of the starving German Shepherd behind the grocery store had become a tale of healing and hope, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, light can find a way through. And for Lily and Max, that light was just the start of a beautiful new chapter. The journey began one quiet afternoon behind the bustling grocery store, a place no one expected to witness a story that would touch so many hearts. It was there that little Lily first spotted Max, the starving German Shepherd, shivering in the shadows, his frail body a silent plea for help. What followed was more than a rescue. It was a journey of love, hope, and transformation that changed Lily, her family, and their entire community. From that first hesitant touch, when Lily reached out with kindness despite the dog's fear and exhaustion, to the long days of nursing Max back to health, every moment was filled with challenges and triumphs. There were times when hope seemed distant, when Max's weakness and mistrust made progress slow, and setbacks tested everyone's resolve. But through it all, Lily's unwavering compassion never faltered, teaching those around her what it truly means to care. Max's recovery wasn't just physical, it was a healing of spirit. As he grew stronger, playful, and trusting, he became a symbol of resilience, a living testament to the power of kindness and the difference one person's courage can make. And that person was a little girl with a big heart, whose innocence and bravery sparked a wave of change far beyond what she could have imagined. The impact rippled through Lily's family, drawing them closer and inspiring new values of empathy and responsibility. It extended to neighbors, friends, and even strangers who heard Max's story and found themselves moved to action. The community rallied together, volunteering at shelters, spreading awareness about animal welfare, and learning how to recognize and respond to animals in need. Max's story became a beacon, shining light on a cause that so many care deeply about but sometimes feel powerless to help. But this story isn't just about one dog or one family. It's about all the forgotten animals, hidden away in shadows, waiting for someone to notice. It's a call to each of us to open our eyes and hearts, to be vigilant, to act with kindness, and to stand up for those who cannot speak for themselves. If Max's journey teaches us anything, it's that compassion saves lives. Small acts, like a moment of attention, a gentle hand, or a voice speaking up, can mean the world to a vulnerable animal. And together, those acts add up to real change. For those inspired to make a difference, there are many ways to help. Local animal shelters and rescue organizations are always in need of support, whether through donations, volunteering, or fostering animals. Educational programs teach us how to care responsibly and advocate for animal rights. Even simply sharing stories like Max's spreads awareness and inspires others to act. In the description below, you'll find links to trusted organizations dedicated to rescuing and rehabilitating animals in need. If you see an animal suffering, don't hesitate. Reach out, offer help, or contact local authorities. Every life matters. As we close this chapter on Lily and Max's story, remember that the power to change lives is in your hands. Let their journey inspire you to look closer, care deeper, and act bravely. The world is better when we stand together for kindness. Thank you for joining us on this heartwarming adventure. If Max's story touched you, please like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more stories that celebrate courage, compassion, and the incredible bonds between humans and animals. Together, we can make sure no story like Max's ever goes unheard.